Today, I'm going to talk about journaling. We are going to talk about journaling. I have a very interesting topic today. It is like something that's very useful tool, and I have used it a lot. And I know a lot of people talk about journaling. A lot of people say, and recently in recent times, it's got a lot of popularity. However, we are not sure when it comes to journaling what it means when we take that pen to paper, what actually is happening. What should I write? So, to answer that question, because I get this question a lot, let me give you some examples. I will be talking about 5 types of journaling and in which scenario what to do. Okay. And eventually, of course, we're talking about manifesting our next level self. And when we are talking about manifesting our next level business, our next level money, abundance, we are talking about a lot of layers. As I say, this work is about embodied identity and then acting from that identity, right? So it's about growing those roots and if you think about the tree, growing the roots deeper while expanding the branches farther, right? So these types of journaling is a tool. What is happening in journaling? We are going to, whenever possible, I want you to use a pen and a paper. Okay, so use a pen and paper and write it down. If not, you can do voice memos also, you can do contemplation also, you can type on your phone also. So something is better than nothing. However, if at all possible, use a pen and paper. There is a science behind it. These nerves connect to your right hand, nerves connect to the heart. So that's direct connection. So that's why they say it's a free flow when you are writing. And it takes a while to reach there. Just like anything else, it's a muscle that needs to be exercised. Okay, so with that, now we know what journaling is. It is one of my favorite tools. Now we are going to talk about types of journaling and when to use it. So, the first one that we are going to talk about is brain dump. When to use it? When we are feeling overwhelmed. As an entrepreneur, as business owners, there are a lot of times in a day, sometimes in a week, when we are feeling overwhelmed. And in such scenarios, I always go back to two things, journaling being the first one, the second one is deep breathing. But there's a lot of overwhelm going on, more often than not it's too big in your head than actually. So what I do is I go ahead, take a pen and paper, put a timer for 2 minutes, and just write all the tasks that are going on in my head, all the actions, all the things that I need to plan, all the decisions that I need to make, all the you know shopping that list that is going on in my mind, everything and everything, each and everything, smallest to the biggest, right? And then after those 2 minutes timer, if 2 minutes was enough, that's good. The point of having the timer is that your brain is not getting into analytics when you're writing. You're just trying to offload at that time. So once you've done that, uh the timer goes off and you will see that it's like really, it's an offload, which is what I call it, the brain dump or the offload journaling. And then you actually go ahead and have a look at what you have written. There would be things that you can categorize as decisions, things that are just FOMOs hitting you, the shiny objects, you can just let them go. I mean, if you decide to. If they are important, they get scheduled. And if they're urgent, they get done, right? And along with that, if there are daily activities like posting on something or replying to emails, of course there are slots for them and you would do it in those slots, right? So, and more often than not, you would see that what comes up, a lot of it was just noise. And whatever needed to be addressed would be addressed in this process of brain dump. Okay, so that's brain dump for you. What did we do? We just offload, we put a timer, offload everything, and then categorized it and stroke off whatever was not needed, schedule whatever could have been done. Okay. Now let's talk about the second type of journaling and when we do it. So the second type of journaling is when you are when you want to shift your mood, right? So that's like when you're feeling low, when you're feeling upset, when you're feeling that you need to change your mood, you need to shift your mood. Yes, Viti. That was my daughter. She's going out for a date, play date with her friend. So yeah, so coming back to shifting the mood. So we are trying to shift the mood, and I love gratitude journaling for that. So, gratitude breathing is a practice that I normally talk about. You can find it in a course in my school community. In my community, I have a lot of courses, and one of them is about gratitude breathing. Even on my Insta channel, you have it. However, let me just tell you, gratitude is known to be the fastest way to bring yourself back to alignment, bring yourself back to your center. Okay. So, what do? You take a deep breath, exhale longer, and then think of something that you are genuinely grateful for. Okay. And that can be anything, anything and anything. And I know sometimes the situations are so bad that there is nothing that you can feel grateful for. But that's the time when you need it the most, and that's the time it works. So you take a deep breath, you think of things that you're grateful for, and you just take a deep breath in. And you write exactly what you're grateful for, what are the things that you have in it, um, and so on. And if you feel called to, you can do more of it. But again, if you don't have time, 3 minutes is enough. Again, put a timer for 3 minutes and do it. Let me tell you a little bit about gratitude breathing as well. In gratitude breathing, you take a deep breath in, exhale longer, do it a couple of times, and then you close your eyes and visualize a flame in your heart chakra, like a candle light in your heart chakra. It can be green color or a warm white color. And every time you breathe, you think of something that you're really grateful for. The point we are trying to be at is it's not your think, it is the heart that needs to feel grateful. So when you're writing also, you want to get into the feeling of gratitude. Everybody praise God, thank you for this, thank you for that. That's great, it's better than nothing. However, at this point when we are doing these exercises, the point is to, even for a few seconds, but to drop into the feeling of gratitude. Okay. So feel the feelings of gratitude and see that light in the gratitude breathing growing, and eventually your whole body, every cell is covered in the gratitude of it. It's, you're surrounded by that light of gratitude. Again, it can be 3 minutes, and it's a very very calming, grounding, and you would see instant shift in your mood. Okay. So when you are feeling low, you use gratitude breathing and gratitude journaling. Okay. And when gratitude journaling, whether even if you're not feeling low, it's a thing that should be part of your daily habit. It would be, you can never go wrong with it. All right. The third thing that I want to talk about, the third type of journaling is clarity journaling. So now sometimes you are confused. Okay, you don't know whether I want this, whether I want that, or what do I want, right? So in such scenarios, I suggest free writing. Free writing is a journaling when you are basically trying to get clarity of something. So there are two ways of doing it. You sit down and you keep writing, for 3 pages. And a lot of times you don't know what to write. So in that case, you just say, I don't know what to write. But you keep writing until you are done with 3 pages. And the chances are, whatever the confusion, the like that's how it works. The subconscious thought behind that confusion would come out. Okay, so that's free writing. The point of it is to focus within, like not about. So in the brain dump, we were talking about the things that I want to do. In here, we are talking about the thoughts that are going on without analyzing them. Let them flow. Okay. So whatever is coming to my mind, oh, I need to go post online. But what if people say this? What if people say that? The hate comments that come up, and you keep writing, like without trying to judge it. Okay, without saying, oh no, I'm not scared, it's okay, I'm scared, what if people judge it, what if nobody watches it, what if I get hate comments, what if I just keep saying, I will like, end up embarrassing myself, what would my family say about it, what would my friends say about it, what is the point of doing it anyways, who am I to think all of that. And you keep going for a while like that, and eventually you'll see that there is a underlying thought that comes out, right? And when you get that thought, the underlying thought, that's what we were trying to get to. So 3 pages, whether you get there or not, you'd keep writing until you write the 3 pages. That's how the free writing works. Okay, and then until you're done with 3 pages, or I can give you a timer, like a 7 minutes timer or something like that. Until then, you don't stop. Okay, and once you're done with that, then you reread it and you see, look for the underlying thought. Maybe it is fear of failure. So the example that I gave you, it's clearly fear of failure. But until it seems very obvious, but when you start writing, you will see, oh, it was there, I didn't even know that. And a lot of times I've seen a lot of fears come up in journaling or in contemplation that I did not even know existed in my brain. Consciously, you would never be able to convince me of those fears, because logically and consciously, I never agreed to them. I knew that's a nonsense. However, when I was actually journaling, it came up. And it takes a while. Again, patience, give it a try. So, when I was doing my neuroscience or business diploma from MIT, there was a part. So, journaling was one of the first things they taught us. The tool that they introduced us to was journaling, and I was like, again, I spent $5,000 on this degree, like a diploma for, like, it was a 3.5 month or 4 months extensive study, and I get this. It was an online course. And I'm again getting journaling, because every time I used to, before that, I was doing a course with my another mentor. She was talking about energy of business. And in there, it was again talking about journaling. And even after spending thousands of dollars with her, I could never journal. And then I come to MIT, and then they are also talking about it. I was like, really? Again? How? And I was like, I am a very logical person. And somehow my brain was never convinced, could not convince me to pick up a pen and paper and free write for minutes. So I gave it a try, because I thought everybody's talking about it, and I have spent so much of money on it. Let me just start giving it a try. For many days, I kept sitting with the pen and paper without writing anything. Then I started writing stuff. And there was a lot of resistance, and it took a while to overcome that resistance. And every entrepreneur at that time, every CEO was talking about starting mind dumps and journaling and this. And I was like, everybody's talking about journaling everywhere. So eventually, I started it. The point I'm trying to make is that I do understand that the resistance is real and it's truth. However, there is a lot of positive to it when you start doing it. I'm not saying to rewrite your affirmation 50 times. there is a value in that also. However, here the value is much, much different. And the only way to see it is to do it. And just like you need to work out for a while to see that muscle developing, you need to write it for a while to reap the benefits of journaling. Yeah. All right. So that was our free writing for clarity. And once you find the underlying thought, you use you reframe it and you change it and you find evidence for that. That is another video topic for another video. There is a belief change model called rare belief change model where you recognize, acknowledge, reframe, and embody that new belief that you want to change, the underlying belief that you found, and then you find the new belief and change it. That's a whole, you know, topic in itself. But if you understand, it's basically you recognize what's the underlying thought, you acknowledge it first, you acknowledge the fear of failure. For example, the example of visibility that I was giving you, acknowledge the fear of failure, fear of insecurity, whatever it is coming up. And then you rephrase it because that is not your 100% truth, right? And today, now that you know it, you have the ability to change it because it's your life and your decisions and your thoughts, and you decide how you want to go from there. So you decide, I don't want this to be my reality. Okay, then what do you want to be your reality? So you rephrase it. And now, with the rephrased identity, you choose an action as that person who's not scared of failure. So if I was not scared of failure, what would I do? I'll go ahead and comment on some community. I will go ahead and talk about XYZ, right? So that's your rare belief change model. Let me know if you want me to go in details of this, how to use it, and give you a workbook on it. Give me, write to it in the comments, and I will actually go ahead and do that for you. Okay. And now, the next one, the next type of journaling, the fourth type of journaling I want to talk about is evidence journal. I suggest all my clients, all my students to keep an evidence journal with you or a success journal with you. Okay. Because your brain is a meaning making machine, right? So I want you to train your brain that you're always succeeding, you're always moving forward. It might sound delusional at times, but it is a requirement for you to be able to see the next step. Okay? So, what is evidence journaling? So, I want you to take some time and make a big note, like that can this should be done on your phone actually. I mean, you can do it on your notebook also. However, I like to do this one on the phone because I want to keep it handy anywhere and everywhere. Okay. So what you do is you basically make a note, a list of things that you have achieved in your life, wherever in your life you are. um, what have you achieved? What do you count as achievement? It could be learning to talk, learning to walk, learning to write, learning a new language, learning a new skill, ability to feed people, ability to talk to people, understanding people, whatever you think of it as achievement. Everybody's situations are different. However, I want you to give yourself some grace and go ahead and look out of the box of the world's definition of achievement. Okay. And just make a note of it, everything that you have achieved in your life. When you were a little kid, learning to drive a bike without the training wheels was an achievement. If you did it early, that was an achievement. Learning to read earlier, that was an achievement, right? So think from that point of view. But if not, in the last 10 years, what have you achieved? Or in last 5 years, what have you achieved? Whatever. And then have that list handy. And every day, end of the day, you ask this question: did I achieve anything today? Whatever is the evidence of it. Or what is the evidence that I am moving towards my goal? Okay, so for example, in the visibility example, what is the evidence that I'm moving towards my goal? If, say, the goal is to get more clients through social media or more visibility through social media, what is the evidence that I posted one time this week? I created three reels that are in draft, or I commented on a few communities, right? Some stranger liked my post, or I got one new follower today, or I answered somebody's question in another community. All of these are small wins, and they need to be acknowledged, because what you focus on expands. Okay, so this acknowledgement is really important. Okay, all right. So once you start doing that, you start seeing more of it. Okay, and in terms of law of attraction, it is said that what you send out, you receive more of it. So you're sending out the signal of win, signal of achievement, signal of moving towards your, like, your reality, sorry, your growth becoming your reality, your next level coming towards you. It's becoming my reality. So it is, that's what the universe says, so it is, right? So that's your evidence journaling, and it is for recognizing wins. Okay, especially when you need a boost of confidence, you go and, so yeah, so you do it to train your mind, but also when you're feeling less confidence, this is never going to work out, no, this is not going to happen, I am not meant for this, what, who am I to think about getting to that next level, who am I to think about becoming a millionaire entrepreneur, who am I to impact the world, what the hell have I done in, in my life? So, and we all have these points in our life, in our days, especially as an entrepreneur. I feel like we go through this up and down the whole day, where all of this is going on. However, coming back to center, as I said, right? So to come back to our center and our reality, because all of this is noise, how do you come back to it? Oh, that's why I said you should be in your phone, because if when you need it, you go back to it and see, in last 5 years, all of these things seemed important. And these are the evidences that my current goal is coming to me. So I actually talked about two types of journaling, wins and evidences. Okay. So the evidences is when things are coming to you, your current goal is moving towards you, and the wins are all of the things that I've achieved in the past 5 or 10 years, right? So when you see these show you, no, this is just noise in my brain. This I am not good enough is just a noise in my brain, and all of this is the proof. Okay, I have these evidences that this is coming towards me. Of course, this is happening, and then these are the things that I've already done. Yeah. So this is how the evidence journaling works. And next one is the final one, which is the manifestation journaling. Again, another one that I tell all my clients to do. And for this one, you need to be delusional as you can be. Um, it's called the Dream Day Journal. If anything was possible, and anything mean by anything I mean anything, like anything at all. Dinner with the most maybe Brad Pitt, or dinner with Angelina Jolie, or Anne Hathaway, or Amitabh Bachchan, or I don't know, having a private jet, whatever you want. If anything was possible, looking a certain way, wearing a certain jewelry, what would your dream day look like? Okay. Pick up a pen and paper and write from beginning of the day, so waking up, till the end of the day, going to sleep. Okay. I want you to try this. This is like something that I love. I tell all my clients, and it's also, once you start getting into the frequency, you're actually vibing at a very high frequency. And they say you cannot get $1 million idea when you are vibrating at a frequency of hustle, of struggle, of less than $3,000 a month or less than $1,000 a month, okay? Or in the frequency of debt, in the worry. What this does is this up levels your frequency. It also shows you, helps you open to the possibilities of more. Okay, and there is always a next level. There is always a more. What I'm living right now was not even a possibility for me maybe 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And I'm right now living it. I used to dream. This was one of my entries, one of the few entries I was able to make in my dream day journal. I'll tell you about that also. Was to wake up and have a beautiful garden view, like a big backyard with a lot of flowers and, you know, open to that, and then have a beautiful staircase in my house. Another one was to sit down, relax, so don't not to be rushing to start the day at my own pace. So all of this was the part of dream day. In fact, I remember when I used to write before my e-commerce business, I used to dream about that when I wake up, I have, thousands of dollars in my account came, like thousands of dollars of sales that day. And, I am not spending time for money. So I don't have to work, like my time is not exchanged for money. And that's what happened. I created that kind of business. I had a seven-figure business, where I my involvement was a couple of hours a week, and everything was happening on its own. It was an e-commerce business, Amazon FBA. For, I mean, it is still there. I have a few private labels, but I've scaled it down a little. Indigo Go Within is my private label. In fact, I'm actually launching a journal, like a 21 days to manifest your $1 million self journal. And a lot of my coaching and tools are there in it. It's my life's work in a way. And it's like day by day, you go through it, and there's a lot in it. Okay, so that's 21 days to manifest your $1 million self. It's coming soon on Amazon. But yes, so all of that became my reality. I remember having a conversation with my husband and sitting outside. Like we had our coffee from a coffee shop, and we were going to pick up our kids. So we both were going to pick up our kids from from our daycare. He had an off that day, and I worked. My lifestyle. I built that freedom eventually. And he was like, if somebody else told me that you could make, at that time I was making like $18,000, $20,000 in couple of by working couple of hours a week. And he was like, you could make that much money by working that less. I would 100% dismiss it as a scam. If I wouldn't have seen it myself, I would dismiss it. And at that time, I was thinking, see, this is what I was working from all this while. So it took me good 3 years to build that business to make it reach that point. But from day one, that was the clarity I had, that this is what I want to build. I did not have a number in my head, but I had that freedom, that feeling of freedom in my head. That was very clear. At that time, I did not have ideas about all these tools. I mean, I did used to journal about the Dream Day Journal, but all the other ones were not there. And it became my reality. I manifested it. And now I'm manifesting to become a millionaire manifestation coach for business owners and taking you along on the journey of it. And these tools that I have talked about, these 5 types of journaling, will actually take you a long way. So do try them. Try all the types of journaling I have told you. Tell me which one is your favorite and what did you do to manifest your next level self. Also, in my school community, on a regular basis, I share a lot of information. You have the ability to ask questions to me and interact with me, and this happens regularly in my school community. So see you guys around. Join my community. The link is in the comments. And happy journaling, happy manifesting.